Bro.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. We'll be starting in 3 minutes at 3:05. Hopefully, more people would have joined by then. Until then, we please ask you to just familiarize yourself with the tools of Zoom right now. You can mute yourself by pressing on the bottom left button so that there's no disturbances in sound, because with the latest highest frequency, the video will change to that speaker.
Hey, बताइए। They are using computer.
We should start now.
Usha, are you on mute? You're not audible.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Prashant, shall we go ahead?
Yes, ma'am, we can start.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the second session of the webinar series, Emerging Stronger During COVID-19, hosted by Arogya World. Today's topic is engaging and energizing employees during COVID-19. I am Usha Chandar, and I'll be the moderator for today's session from Arogya World. I head the Healthy Workplace program of Arogya World. Arogya World is a global health nonprofit working towards prevention of non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and so on, through health education and lifestyle change. We strive to achieve our mission, changing the course of chronic diseases, one community at a time, with a focus on innovative technology, partnerships, and by implementing scalable and sustainable programs with measurable impact. Our doorstep model takes prevention to where people live, learn, and work. Along with diabetes prevention program for the community, Healthy Schools program, we also have our flagship program, which is the Healthy Workplace Initiative. Now, this initiative is to motivate companies to invest in employee health and wellness through pioneering awards. This innovative approach leverages workplace as a platform for chronic disease prevention, since working Indians spend so much of their time at the workplace. So far, we've onboarded about 131 companies as healthy workplaces. And with your support and cooperation, with all those that are present in today's webinar, we strive to reach out to more and more organizations and motivate them to become Arogya World's healthy workplaces. We would like to consider ourselves as strategic partners, and we provide evidence-based, data-driven, and outcome-oriented solutions towards employee health and well-being. Today's session will be for 1 hour. One of our speakers, Dr. Deepali Khode from Cummins India Limited, had to drop out due to unforeseen circumstances. Our two speakers for today, whom I'll introduce in a little while, so they will take 15 to 20 minutes each. It'll be followed by a question and answer session for 20 minutes. Request you all to submit the feedback form at the end of the session, at the end of this webinar. It has 5 to 6 generic questions. Please ignore the questions that is not relevant to you or your organization. Friends, we're all going through a state of uncertainty in this pandemic crisis. It's so unprecedented, right? Even my 92-year-old mother-in-law doesn't remember anything like this happening in her lifetime. So it becomes very, very important for HR leaders and C-suite executives to build resilience and then bring in agility in the workplace. Now, you all would agree, every downturn brings opportunities, right? And if managed correctly, these circumstances can present an opportunity to inspire and energize employees to be more successful. And the organization can also help them see the potential for the organization and for their own jobs, for the employees' jobs, in a new and a different way. So we thought that we would approach our speakers for today with this proposal, and we'll be very happy to hear their experiences and their insights on building resilience and agility in the workplace or workforce, and also in how they engage and energize their employees during COVID-19. So with great pleasure, we invite our speakers, Mr. Mahesh Chandak from Bayer and Ms. Beena Patil from Indegene. Mr. Chandak is responsible for health, safety, and environment for South Asia at the Bayer Group, Bayer is a life science company with more than 150-year history and core competencies in the areas of healthcare and agriculture. Overall, he has 24 plus years of diverse industry and consulting experience and has project experience in 15 countries. He is a chemical engineering graduate from IIT Bombay with master's degree from University of Cincinnati, USA. He is active in Indian industry forums and has been appointed as jury member for several esteemed industry awards. Welcome, Mahesh, and thank you very much for accepting our request. Our next speaker will be Veena Patil. She is the Vice President, Human Resources at Indegene. Indegene is a company offering research and development and management services to healthcare and pharmaceutical enterprises. Veena has over 22 years of experience, including 11 years at Indegene in talent management, team development, and global systems. So over to the speakers. I would request Mahesh to please lead the first speaker slot, which will be followed by Veena. Over to you, Mahesh.
Thank you, Usha, and thank you, Arogya World, for this opportunity. When Ashwini, my friend, reached out, I couldn't refuse because I have been learning a lot from her on various aspects of employee wellness. So I'm here, speaking to you. Thanks to you, Ashwini. So I'm trying to share my screen, but it is not allowing. May I request Echo to please do the needful?
Sir, I've made you the co-host. Can you please try again?
Okay, I'll try again. So as I set up my screen, let me tell you why this period is so crucial for us at Bayer to keep our employees engaged and energized. Bayer has just in the last 2-3 years has been busy acquiring a very large company called Monsanto and integrating it with Bayer globally. As you can imagine, in these times, as organizations integrate with, Monsanto is a US company, Bayer is a German company. Between the two of them, we have almost 115,000 employees globally present in all the continents of the world. You can imagine the huge exercise of integration, culture, diversity of cultures, and so on. And we were in the middle of in that. And we thought the water is getting a bit unsteady, from time to time. But we didn't know that this whole storm called COVID is going to hit us. And it came very, very fast. And as which all of us are in the middle of this storm. So for us, this couldn't have come at a wrong time, I would say, wherein we were in the midst of integration, in the midst of that chaos, and on top of this, this whole COVID crisis. I myself have been only 6 months in this role. I belong to Legacy Monsanto and coming into the new organization. So for me also, it has been a great journey. I think the last couple of a month or so has taught me more than many years of what I learned in the industry. So I want to share some of those perspective with you. Hopefully, you will appreciate that. So all of you, I was told in the beginning, belong to facilities or HSE or health safety environment and so on. It doesn't matter which function we come from, right? All our functions, I think, are enabling functions, and we keep our employees at the heart of what we do. We keep the employees, we think of our employees as customers, and we try to be very, very customer centric. So though I'm giving here a HSE example, you can think of what you do, whether it is facilities or so on. The end of the day, our purpose is to have employees engaged to the organization, because only if employees are engaged, we can have a safe and a great place to work, and hence have a positive culture in the organization. So whatever we do, first we try to do risk mitigation, correct? We try to assess risk, control it, review it, and then identify and so on. And we put a plan in place that our risk is within the limits. It could mean designing safe workplaces. It could mean designing controls around engineering control or access control. So many examples we can give. And that's the core of what we do, is to eliminate and manage the risk. But we know that this is not sufficient. We need our leaders to show the commitment, whether it is quality, safety, all these enabling values, we need our leadership commitment for it. And what is the purpose of risk mitigation and leadership commitment? End of the day, it is to engage our employees into the program that we are trying to drive. Our programs are for employees and have to be designed for employees, in a way which they will embrace it. So employee engagement needs to be at the heart of what we do. And that has been our approach at Bayer in terms of pre-COVID times, how we try to approach our program. Many of you must be participating in mock drills, right? Why do we do that? We do the mock drill, we practice the emergency so that when a real emergency happens, we are prepared for it and we have gone through the steps. And hence, I think when you talk of COVID crisis, we cannot suddenly become a new organization and say, no, we want to engage employees. We need to have these things already into our purpose, into our approach. And that's what I'm trying to show here. So this is pre-COVID time when our ship was flowing in steady waters. This is what we try to do. How do you do that? Is the next slide, right? So employee engagement is a very complex word to me still. And I don't like something complex. We try to simplify, right? So how do we do that? I think there are four important ways to do it. First is the care and concern, the basic thing, whether it is rules, when one should come to office, whether it is rules of how to work safely. Yes, they are rules and they are part of procedures, but they need to be delivered, right? How the food is delivered to you at home. It is not just delivered in a packet. It is delivered with a lot of care and concern from whoever makes the food at home. And that's what makes the home food special. So we need to deliver our program with care and concern, and employees need to feel that. And only when they feel that, they are more engaged with, safety or health and well-being. Second is connection. Employees need to feel connected to the organization, to the purpose of the organization. And hence, we always have tried to tell the reason of why we are doing something. And we have always tried to connect people to the program, both their mind and heart. Clarity. Very important that we make things very crystal clear to employees. This is what you have to do. This is what you don't have to do. If we make it very complex, if and but and so on, people will not understand procedures and people will not be committed to working safely. And last is credibility. Our leaders need to walk the talk and need to trust, and employees need to trust them. So these were the 4 ways we have been trying to run our wellness and health programs and safety programs so that our employees are engaged. And as we were doing that in steady water, right, this whole COVID crisis has hit all of us, correct? Now, as I said, we cannot suddenly reinvent and create new values in our organization. Values have to be inculcated over time. So what we did was, instead of trying to do something different, we tried to go back to those basics of 4 pillars of employee engagement and see how did we employ them in the post-COVID scenario. And that's what is shown on this slide. What we said is, yes, employee engagement was always important for us at Bayer, but now we need to elevate it to a level which people can see even when they work from home. It is not something like an event at office which people can see and participate. It needs to be felt at people, and we have almost 12,000 employees working across India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, 4 countries that we manage out of South Asia. And how does each one of them feel that they are part of this organization? So first was the care and concern part. We said, let's be proactive. So things like curtailing travel, things like canceling meetings, things like allowing work from home even before the lockdown. We took a proactive approach apart from all the hygiene practices, which all of us also do. At the same time, we were open to individual concerns. See, end of the day, every individual thinks differently. And we at Bayer, since we are into a life sciences company, into pharmaceuticals and agrochemicals, we are an essential commodity. And even during this lockdown, we need to operate our sites so that we can deliver the products, medicines for the customer, and we can deliver seeds to the farmer, right? So health for all, hunger for none. That's our motto. And we need to be open to concerns of employees who are asked to come to work, even during this lockdown period. So we have to be very inclusive and not say, no, we have done what we have to do and you have to now to come to work. We have been very open to people who are not comfortable, and we have inspired them to come eventually, rather than taking a strict approach that, no, if you don't come, we will not, appreciate that. Second is connection. How do we connect 12,000 employees across the organization? And many of them are working remotely. Like I'm working sitting here at home, and you can see some utensils, I think, being washed in the background. And these are perils of working from home. So what we thought is technology can be a good enabler. So we opened up a new Teams, Microsoft Teams platform. I don't know how many of you use it. It's a great platform. to connect, and we created like an internal Facebook, and I'll show some glimpses of it as a common platform to connect everybody. Earlier, many of our employees would never met our leadership team. Let's say people located in remote parts of India and Pakistan, Bangladesh. But now on this platform, they are live with leaders. So that's how we try to connect. At the same time, locations which are working, we told the leaders to make local face-to-face connects with people who come to work. It's not just people are connected to, no, electronically, there has to be a face-to-face angle to it. Credibility. We have been practicing what we preach, and not just the credibility we try to bring is, we have been an important part of this value chain in agriculture. We deal with farmers, we deal with remote, people in dealers, distributors across the country. We've also taken them into our fold, and whatever best practices we are learning, we are sharing with them. And that's how we have built a credibility in this field, that we are not just caring of our sites and employees, but also the whole value chain. And clarity. We try to bring clarity by, for example, a lot of these instructions are coming on COVID, but we have to make it contextual to the employee. If somebody is an IT professional working from home, or an agriculture professional working in the fields, we have to deliver the recommendations to them in the language they will understand, and based on the risk that they. So this is how we try to engage employees, and I want to now just show some examples. This is an example of our teams, the kind of posts that we have been doing on that, the kind of following that we have, the kind of stories we have put up. And sometimes, it's like at home when you want to eat something healthy. Let's say our spouse or mother want to feed us Karela, which is good for health. It is not given separately. It is mixed with a lot of other things that we like, and it is mixed and matched. So our conscious approach and collaboration with leadership, communications team, HR is, let's bring a variety of engagement initiatives to employees. For example, leadership messages. We have shown leaders doing mopping at home in their casual wear, because they are humans. People have only seen them in suits, but now people can see them in their home wear, in t-shirts, in shorts, and still giving a leadership message. We have made leaders very humble in this process. Bear heroes. A lot of our employees did a lot of great work around the country. We collected these stories and put it through this our teams. It really motivated, and many more employees did things like serving food to poor people, distributing PPE, doing what they could do apart from the organization CSR. I think if the CSR element gets into people, then we create heroes, and that's what we have tried to do here. Community outreach efforts, business continuity, how we have collaborated and helped deliver seeds in remote parts of the country, even while during this lockdown. You can see work from home, leaders sharing how they are taking care of ergonomics, and so on. And these kind of things. I think a lot of variety of stories to engage employees, and we are getting very good engagement traction on it. And yes, we already had an intranet earlier. We already have email, but these things don't make an impact. When the times get turbulent, we have to step up and do something which was out of the ordinary and engage employees. And this is a great platform by which we are continuously engaging and spending time. Allowing people to use digital tools, bringing yoga to homes, telling people how to make their face mask. Nowadays government is asking all of us to make home face covering and so on. And even things like virtual coffee connects and so on. A lot of these examples are there. I cannot go into all of them. And last bit from my side, I hope I have time. Yeah, is I'll take just 2 minutes on this. Is okay. This is all we create engagement. But at the end of the day, people have to do their job, right? Everybody has to deliver what they have to deliver. And as they do that, what we find is people lose energy, and we need to do something for them to gain energy. So we already had a concept earlier called 90-10, which meant that give 90 minutes to what you're doing, work wholeheartedly, but take that 10 minutes for yourself, okay, and take a break. Now in digital, in office environment, it's possible. If there's a meeting, you give a tea break, coffee break, washroom break, and so on, or bio break. But how do we do it remotely? So we brought concepts like, when you schedule meetings, do it for 45 minutes or do it for 55 minutes. Instead of 30 minutes, do it 25 minutes. Let's give time, small breaks to people where they can do what they need to do. Now, the next part was what they should do in that breaks. Like, is also important. And so as part of this 90-10, we have 5 pillars, which I just want to reiterate. Now, when we take a break, many times what happens is I take a break from work and I go into my mobile and I am reading my WhatsApp messages. So is that break really useful? Instead of watching my laptop screen, now I'm watching a mobile screen and I'm hearing all these rumors. And is it really energizing me or is it depressing me when I see the numbers of COVID cases globally and the deaths and all that? So what we said is do 5 things when you take a break. And I request all of you to, if nothing else, remember from my presentation, remember these 5 things when we take break. First is fuel. Do I need to drink water? Do I need to put some fuel in my car, in my body, so that I feel energized? It could be a snack, it could be water, it could be a fruit, and so on. It's not just lunch, dinner, tea, coffee. Okay, so small fuel is important for us. Second is restore. The way I'm sitting right now, I'm actually facing outside, and you can see the sunlight on my face. You know, I positioned my workplace like this, at least for a few hours, wherein I can see something like fresh air. So restoring yourself, going out into your balconies, breathing deeply, very, very important. Invigorate. We are a set of muscles which need to be energized. And as we work from home, we're finding we are on couch, we are on, some very awkward postures and doing calls the entire day. We need to stretch our muscles. So invigorating is, do I need to take a break, or in this break, do I need to stretch my muscle and not actually just have a tea or a coffee? Okay. Fourth is protect. Just watch your posture. See the way you're working. Is it the best way, or do you need to make some adjustments? It is to look around and see whether things are safe around us, and so on. And last is connect. It's important to have a conversation, whether on call or in person with people at home, but that connect between two people, nothing can replace that. If we do these 5 things in these micro breaks, we can be engaged, we can be energized, and we can continue to deliver for our organization from time to time. So this is on the learnings. I'll leave this to later. I think in case for there is Q&A, to interest of time, I'll stop here and we can continue push out to the next.
Thank you, Mahesh. We'll talk about your presentation in a little while, but I will request now Beena to take over the platform. And then Beena, kindly share your experiences and insights, please, on the same topic.
Sure, I'll just share this. Everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mahesh, for that very insightful learnings from Bayer. I think it was really energizing for us in a very different context. So I would also like to thank Usha, who's invited me for this presentation to present what we have done at Indegene. So thank you, Usha, Arogya, and all the other teams, ECO, who are working here to make this possible. To many of you all who don't know Indegene, I thought first I would just give a small snapshot about what Indegene is. So Indegene is a next generation healthcare solutions company, and we work with life sciences companies to bring their products faster to the market by driving effectiveness and efficiency through modern commercial and medical operations. So we work across the product life cycle of the life sciences companies, and we partner along with them in every step of the way, in different ways, from providing analytical solutions, technological solutions, creating a strong, scalable operating models that we have. At the base, finally, is the science and medical applications that we bring in to make this whole space very interesting. Today, of course, data and content are becoming the key factors, and we are creating a lot of platforms using AI and ML, NLP to make data and content intelligent. So, if you look at it currently, we have around more than 2,000 employees working for us across 11 offices across the globe. Majority of the population, of course, is based in India, and Bangalore is where we are headquartered at. And if you really see these times which have come in through COVID, I don't know, if, like what Mahesh was mentioning, this is something that we are actually prepared for. I don't think anything in this world can actually prepare us for something like this. So this last few weeks have been a journey of awakening, rediscovering ourselves, adjusting and adapting to this new way of working during this pandemic. And it's also important for us as we partner with Life Sciences Organization. The whole focus of the industry is towards that, where they're building a new vaccine. So I guess, it's important for us to really help the pharma companies feel that we are a part of them and we can do much more than what is required. And they get that confidence. So that's been our focus in these last couple of weeks. Life is not going to be the same again, with this emerging, and we have to redefine ourselves, adjust, adapt to see what works best for us as individuals, families, organizations, and society at large. So, we will continue to have this focus for looking at what are some of the key important things when you look at talent engagement, right? Talent engagement and management has been a focus because Indegene is a people-centric organization. And I think people are the core for us for any activity or any solutions or services that we provide. So they are our first priority. So when we had this pandemic emerging, there were two main focus areas for us. So one is obviously employees' health and safety. And this is a non-negotiable for us completely. And we being in the healthcare space, like I said, the focus of keeping our client operations ongoing so that they get more confidence and they can focus on areas that is important to work with physicians and patients at this stage. We wanted to see how we can really help them and make our employees help them in the whole process. So when we looked at employees' health and safety being the focus, we formulated certain things to enable employees take on that mantle of delivering various solutions to clients and also continually keeping the operations ongoing from different standpoints. So here we looked at a main important factor is the fact of creating a critical response team, which consisted of the senior leadership representatives, human resources, finance, admin, IT, and business excellence. And I think the whole idea of getting this whole conglomeration together has been with an approach to see that everyone brings in their expertise from their experience, and then look at ways to solving things much more quickly. This critical response team actually focused on three areas. One is the operations and delivery, company guidelines, and looking at how can we tackle new challenges. Operations and delivery and creating company guidelines, I'm sure, are something that, it's something that becomes more like a basic factor. And I'm sure the participants here who are coming from facilities background or IT background already know these things very well. And I really appreciate the facilities team as well as the IT team who have really worked day and night to see that the connectivities are on, to see that the people across, not only in our company, I think I've seen this across where people have actually looked at providing laptops, seeing people are able to work from home. In our organization, we pretty much have 80% of our population who are already having laptops, but there were 20% who worked on critical technologies and applications wherein they needed special devices and the systems would not support. So I think the initial phase went in trying to get laptops, devices, which were going to help them to work and make the operation seamless. So this team, so the BCP team actually looked at, a continuous assessment of evolving issues and having a proactive approach to communicate this. And as we went along, we said we'll keep it progressive and keep making changes in our processes and policies. So when you look at operations and delivery, I think the second line leadership played a very, very key important role here, wherein they took up the mantle of doing their daily planning. They discussed issues frequently in the initial stages, and they also looked at having daily stand-ups and providing client updates. We started working with clients and telling them these are our proactive, stand on various things. This is where we feel we need your help. This is a place where we might take a little more time. The clients were very, very understanding since they were also going through similar challenges. And I think that has been very, very encouraging for us. And the partnership with many clients have been very, very positive in these times. And managers, were making themselves pretty much available throughout. And I think in the last 1 week, I think you see a much more steady operations, where the last 1 or 2 weeks, you see much more steady operations, and managers, I guess, have time to do much more other things than being available for employees. The second part was, of course, company guidelines, which I spoke about in terms of providing laptop devices, network space, etc. I think here, the team actually worked not only with internal stakeholders, but also external stakeholders in terms of, going to the government, looking at different building norms that we needed to keep in pace with, doing deep cleansing. These were some things I think sounds routine, but it takes quite a lot of effort from these teams to really work and bring quick resolutions on these issues. And the CRT team was empowered to take up these calls. So I think those were something which were really, really impactful. And we had employees like Mahesh had said earlier, we had our employees working from home at least 2 weeks in advance, 1 to 2 weeks in advance before the actual lockdown came into place. And from that time, the normal things of travel restrictions, providing them information on specific news which were relevant, which are the apps they need to see so that people don't look at fake news and get depressed or probably panic. Those were some of our key attempts from creating company guidelines. We created a help desk, asked employees to self-declare if they were traveling or if they needed any help. So I think these really worked very well, and employees really appreciated, and we found them actually making self-declarations on this helpline, saying this is where I'm going. If if they had fallen sick, they actually brought that out to the fore and said, I'm having a little bit of cough and cold. Our HRBP team would actually follow up and see if they were fine. So these updates were given back to the critical response team. As we went along, we saw new challenges. We found, few of the colleagues who actually stayed in PG accommodations were asked to move out, and then we had new hires and exits that were happening continuously. So we created again an administrative framework of e-onboarding, e-offboarding, which we had to create on the fly. I think the team was fantastic in developing this. And also we partnered with network partners who actually helped us provide some accommodation to these people at lower costs. So I think these were really great initiatives which employees have come back and said they had a smooth onboarding experience, same as probably they would have had with us, maybe face to face. So the L&D teams, the talent operations team, all were empowered to take decisions and work on the fly. I think these become very critical when you're looking at engaging employees and making them feel that they are able to learn on the fly and also be individually productive at a faster pace. While we were doing this, we realized that the second line leadership started coming back on daily operations by the end of first week, when things started to settle down, saying that they were noticing some of the employees having a few issues in terms of feeling isolated, or they were not feeling rejuvenated, or they were not motivated in few aspects. So we had the human resource business partners actually who had done a lot of one-on-ones to get a sense across different groups by these 1 to 2 weeks. And so the team sat down and looked at how do we really look at creating an engaging platform. And we didn't want to create something new. We said we must do something with what we have and really make it much more relevant for people based on the kind of work they're doing. So here we're looking at, we looked at how can we increase engagement with a lot of empathy and human touch, because this is what will be missing when you're actually working from home. So we group them in different groups, which is individual contributors, project managers. There are guys who are working on field. There are people who are working on client sites. So their problems are very different. Leads and people managers and delivery leads. And we looked at, we have around 60% of people being individual contributors, and the rest of the group constitute around 40%. We also categorize them based on profiles. Gender, our population, we have 40% of women population. So obviously the kind of problems they face are very, very different. You have multi-generation workforce, but the majority, nearly 75% of our population comes from Gen Y. They are very different in their thought process, and you need to have something which is much more peppy and interesting for them when you look at engaging them apart from the normal work they do. We had location as one aspect, people who stayed in Bangalore, people who are staying across, and also how they were staying, right? When I mentioned stay, it means there are individual employees who are staying alone. They had problems of isolation. They had problems of how do I get food? How do I cook? I don't know how to cook, so those were some of the problems they faced. We had, employees who were staying with families, nuclear families, and with children obviously coming back and telling us, saying that we don't know how to manage all these things without house help. And, we find how do we engage children during these times. And there was another group of people who had elderly with them. So the elderly care became very, very important for them. So they had to adjust their time with work and manage all these aspects by themselves. So I think these were some of the feedbacks that we got, and we were very humbled to hear the way people have actually, dealt with it. And they have really worked hard to see that how they can really make, how they can really keep in touch with different team members and learn from each other. So these were some.
Hi, Beena. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're in the interest of time. I think you've covered all the aspects, right?
No, just two more slides. I'll finish. I'll do it fast.
Okay.
I had another 5 minutes. Okay. So I'll go to the next slide. So we looked at, the 5, when you look at wellness, we said that we'll actually focus on professional, social, physiological, psychological, and financial wellness. And from a professional standpoint, because we had offices across the globe, whether it is US, UK, Canada, we said that we'll have a global town hall, which was taken in very well. We had nearly 800 people to 1,000 people who joined us in this whole conference, and people asked us different things on their job security. They had questions around capability, how do we look at future, and all this was answered by the senior management team, which brought about a lot of strength among the employees. And then, of course, we did a lot of virtual bonding for fun. We had our teams conducting a lot of contests on how they can share co-working spaces with their family members, sharing on Slack, which is very, very important today. And of course, we have employee managers rewarding employees who actually showed great resilience in this whole process. We also have a mind coach who actually helped employees who were facing isolation, or they were having some issues from a psychological standpoint, to keep them pepped up. And of course, yoga, Zumba classes, I'm not getting into that. These are some things that we are continually doing. So in our whole learning has been more that, if you can't change outside world, then change something on the inside. So the team has to continuously prioritize and the impact areas, experiment new ideas to engage, and communicate proactively. I think the more to communicate, the better it is. Our My Health Matters in COVID-19 will continue to focus on providing guidelines on how we can work. So a few things that we're changing in policies if we're working from home is not to call before 9:30, provide a gap between 1 to 2 p.m. or after 8 to 9, 10, 9:30 p.m. Provide some gaps so that people can actually eat and stay healthy at the right time. So these are some things that we are doing, and overall, I think the best outcome has been that there have been zero disruption in business, and all of our employees are pretty healthy and safe in this whole process. So I think that's been a great, proud moment that we were able to do this. But obviously, this is not something that we wanted to happen, but we definitely like to, give credit to people who have actually worked hard in this process. So that's it from my side. Thank you, Usha.
Thank you so much, Beena. Thank you, Beena and Mahesh. It's really amazing to see how you people have defined the new world, and you have still managed to establish the emotional connect and the physical connect and everything. And I'm happy to hear Beena say that it's business as usual. So it's really encouraging, and we're very happy. So I could go on and on, but in the interest of time, we will open the floor for questions. And participants, kindly come up with your questions. In case we are not able to answer all of them, you kindly put up your question in the chat session, and then we will request the speakers to answer them, even if it is after the webinar. Please go ahead.
Hi, Beena. This is Dakshini. I have one query pertaining to the, recreation activities. Like you are telling that Zumba dance, etc. Right? So, being part of, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, the thing is, being social distancing is Zumba dance is something related to an online kind of activity carried.
So I think we have one of the, I don't think the focus here is getting all of them together, but I think we have one of the, the person whom we have tied up with who teaches Zumba actually, display that on the video. And we had more than around 70, 80 participants who actually, participated with her while she was actually doing Zumba from their own houses. We also had seen around 150 people or more do even yoga across the globe. And this, we had seen a participation across US, Canada, where they wanted to be a part of yoga. So I think that's how we have approached it.
Okay, it should be then online classes, right?
Yeah, it is like an online class, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? This is an interactive session, guys. So please come up with questions, whatever queries, concerns you may have as an employee or as an employer. Now's the chance. Please go ahead. Okay, Mahesh, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Mahesh, can you hear me?
Yes, Usha. Yes.
Yeah. So you've been managing the company's human capital very, very effectively, and you made sure that they're all connected, and you've engaged them emotionally also. So I just wanted to know, how best do you encourage your employees to participate in shaping corporate policies? Do you also, this is not related directly to COVID, but this question just popped in my mind. So do you involve them in shaping your policies, your goals, objectives, and so on?
Yes. I think I do see that. When it comes to policies, many times we get an image. It is top down. It is pushed from top to people, and then some people, abide by it. Some do it grudgingly, and some don't like to do it. When we use the word policy and rules, in general, our approach is to build commitment and not just make employees follow rules. If we whether it is safety, health, or HR type practices, if we build the commitment amongst people, the rules don't appear like rules. They appear more like guardrails within which employees have to operate. So that's one approach in how we deliver, our policies. And second is very important is any policy by frequent communication which happens between leaders and employees from time to time. And when we have open houses, when we have town halls, we have leadership connect sessions, etc. Not more than 50% time is given to for what the message leaders have to give, and more than 50% time is given for question answers. Or nowadays the trend is the message what leaders want to give, we are pushing through email in the invite itself, because people can read that and understand. The whole session is devoted to Q&A. I think when that kind of interaction happens, naturally the leaders feel that, okay, there has to be a good buy-in to the policy. It should not sound as a rule which is difficult to implement for the employees, and automatically it becomes more employee-centric approach.
Thank you. Yeah,
There
any
are
more
some things in
questions,
the
please?
chat. There are some things in the chat. Maybe that's a question.
Hi, I have a quick question for Beena and Mahesh. So I wanted to, we're talking about a lot of engagement practices, employee engagement, most likely a short-term aspect of it. March, April is typically our appraisal cycle. So this COVID has also impacted the long-term processes, the regular processes that we run for our organizations. Would you like to comment on that?
I can just comment, and Beena, you can add. So just yesterday, I had my one-on-one as part of onboarding of that person. So hiring is going on. People are getting onboarded electronically. So that is happening. We did tweak things a bit. For example, normally for onboarding, we have a pre-employment medical examination. So we have excluded that for now, because that is challenging for people to get done and for us to. So we have been agile enough to make some adjustments, but continue with the regular hiring, the bonus cycle. What you mentioned, we have the same cycle, and we are honoring that commitment and so on. Yes, the exits. Okay, some exits were planned and were in part of some process. The approach we have taken is, if everything was communicated and it was just matter of execution, it will go ahead. But if it was something being discussed, we'll stop the discussion, because there's not a right time to continue with those discussions. That's how we have been approaching.
Hi, Mahesh and Beena. I just want to ask one question pertaining to policies, especially with respect to working time and vacations, because, now, is this going to be a new normal now, wherein work from home would take precedence from a normal day-to-day, the work that we were known, so far. So do we see companies, thinking about reducing or at least, come out with different kind of benefits in terms of vacation, now that people are working from home?
So I'll take this. Each right now, actually, there's obviously a complete lockdown. So, wherever I think people still feel that they need to take vacation or they need a time break, I think people are doing that. But as we go ahead, depending on how things really evolve, on how the travel sector, how safe it is to really travel outside, I think people will really decide what kind of vacations they would like to take. But I think companies are open to understand that they would need breaks, and I think that will continue, virtually as of now. And even in future, I guess, the company would be willing to provide this kind of flexibility for people. I don't think, that is really going to change so much from my opinion, at least for now. The flexibility will definitely be given. What employees can do during this vacation is something that we'll have to really see as the time evolves.
Hi, Beena.
I just want to make a comment on that, Naveen, before you begin. So one more aspect on the agile. So many organizations are on that path. And I'm hearing ratios like, if you have 13 to 15 employees, the office is designed only for 10 employees. because typically if you are on leave, you are traveling, and so you go and you choose a desk which you need to operate. So we have started doing that in our new locations. Old locations, the interiors would have to change. So we went from cabins to open office and but of different sizes, and now we are going to this. So I think it's all moving in towards the direction of flexibility, and as technology and tools like Zoom, Teams, we are having conversation as if we are sitting, in front of each other. So these things are just matter of time, and different sectors will move, differently speed, but eventually we'll get there. Yes, Naveen.
Yeah. Hi, Pina. This is Naveen. A lot of employees have the feeling that job security, their jobs may be on stake, and how the management is taking this type of queries, or what is the decision from the management side for such type of employees, because a lot of employees have that thoughts in their mind, and that becomes psychologically they're becoming ill with that type of mentality. What will be the suggestions from your end?
Yeah. So, when I just start, you can. So, see, I think in such times, okay, whether it is COVID or job or anything, we have to really make a distinction. What is in my control and what is not in my control. Okay. So what happens to COVID outside, number of cases is, it does impact us, but it's not in our control. We can take care of our own social distancing and so on. So when it comes to jobs specifically, what I feel, this is a time employees should see in terms of upgrading their skills, development, doing courses, what it takes to go to the next level. Many times we have very fancy intranet portals of our organization and a lot of competencies, but how many of us actually read that and imbibe that and bring it to our development plan? So I think this is a time, without worrying about what will happen, one should focus on development, because it's a great opportunity. We are having some extra time from the travel. At least I know work has increased for many, but travel time has decreased. So we can do that. And secondly, in general, what I'm hearing, there is going to be a recovery, a V-shaped recovery of sorts. We don't know all that, but it's not that things, the world after COVID crisis will continue to operate, will need people and good talent. And so I think good talent is always going to be sought after. Thank you.
I absolutely agree with you, Mahesh, there. I think, there are different kinds of industries, Naveen, and I think, we are very blessed to have worked in healthcare, because this is a place where you actually have new opportunities coming in with the new vaccine that they're trying to find, and also looking at how the space will completely evolve. But there are other companies that are going through a lot of issues, and I can understand. I think the whole idea is to see that the management can have ways to communicate from their side, to tell them some developments, because that helps the employees prepare themselves what is happening. And second is definitely, like Mahesh was saying, I think we as employees will really need to look at upgrading ourselves from a skill perspective, looking different kinds of jobs that could be available, so that they can really take up new opportunities as they come. But everyone will need to be a lot's patience.
Okay. Thank you, Mahesh and Beena.
Just one question I want to address, which has come in the chat, is on, just a second, I lost it. Yeah, so what safety precautions, wherever manufacturing is happening, the essential sectors manufacturing is happening, what measures should be taken? I think a whole lot of things can be done. We all know the obvious things around screening people at the gate, hygiene, and sanitation facility, more frequent disinfection. Over and above that, I think when it comes to within the four walls of your factory, you can go above and beyond the government norm. So if the government norm of social distancing is 1 meter, let's say, I would suggest, let's try and design workplaces so that people are working at 2 meters distance from each other. And if there is interaction more than 15 minutes, somebody has to work with somebody at less than 2 meters, then you give them the surgical or medical mask, for them to operate, and obviously limit that and maintain register of those contacts at site. Because if any of the site employees get impacted in future, organization should know exactly who are the people who work with that person, and so those people can be also quarantined. So little bit, prepare for the worst and hope for the best, but it's a great opportunity to go above and beyond, because that will what make the employees feel that yes, I'm safer going to the factory and working than being at home. That's what we should aspire to do.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Mahesh. Usha, I'll just take a last question, and I want to get the thoughts of Mahesh and Beena. So, Mahesh, my question is that, you have thrown good insights of engaging and energizing the employees from a corporate culture perspective. I just want to understand from a people's manager point of view that now when the concept of work from home is being introduced and we all are working in that aspect. So what do you think in terms of productivity? Is it getting enhanced or is it standstill? Majorly on the business continuity process. So what's your views on the productivity in terms of what level it is now when we all are working from home?
Yeah. So great question, Nandan. And as a people manager, sometimes we do tend to think of that. But what I've tried to do, Nandan, consciously is I am not worrying about productivity. Okay. Because I'm worrying about, is my employee feeling engaged? Okay. So earlier, I'm the sort of person when I would pick up the phone, I would just get into the task. Now I just tell myself, okay, wait for a minute, ask how is he, and then get into the task. Because right now we are all focusing on critical activities, right? So even if we have more productivity, an employee is sitting at idle at home and wants work, we cannot give work. There's a limitation. So right now, let's focus on the priority, the health, safety, and keeping business critical activities on. Productivity, I think, is a thing not to worry at this moment. I think people will do the job if they are engaged. If you take care of the engagement, productivity, everything else takes care of itself.
Wonderful. I think it's a great thought. Thank you very much, Mahesh. Really insightful.
Due to paucity of time and because we said that we will be taking an hour for this session, we are having to close it right here. So we see a lot of questions that have popped up in the chat session. So please rest assured that we will be addressing all of them. We'll request the speakers and they've already agreed to answer the questions. We'll also be sharing the presentation and we will be sharing the summary of today's session. We would also request the participants to please share your feedback so that we are able to improve upon this entire. Of course, on one hand, we are very happy that we were able to enable this kind of interaction. We also took the opportunity of doing something during this lockdown period. And we're happy that we were able to do it. And the next session, we also have another session coming up on April 21, which is on managing nutrition. And we hope to have similar interaction. And we will be announcing that session very soon. And our sincere thanks to Mahesh and Beena. Thank you very much. It was really very insightful. And I'm of course using the same terms because it was indeed insightful. And it was really encouraging for everyone that working from home is not really that bad after all. And thank you very much for your time and sharing all your thoughts and experiences. Thank you, participants. And we'll conclude this session today right here.
I have shared a feedback form with everyone. Kindly request you to take 2 minutes to share your feedback with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beena and Mahesh.
Thank
really
you.
Insightful.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, Beena. It was really, really nice. Very interesting. I think there are a lot of questions on
that have popped up. Yeah, exactly. So we would also like to thank Infra, GACS, CII, BCIC, V3 Galaxy, CBRE, and other corporate leaders who have participated in this webinar. And of course, our awesome Arogya team, the Healthy Workplace team for organizing these webinar sessions. And of course, the rest of the team for giving all the moral support and being present in the webinar. So we look forward to you sharing your feedback later. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you. Stay safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.